Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dokotela Sicathulo, and to all those who are new to the channel, welcome. To all those returning viewers, welcome. And I got another pair from Kmart just for $10, and I saw a bargain, not just a blank canvas. I saw a pair of sneakers that could tell a story. My inspiration this week is from Zimbabwe's early hunters and gatherers, our ancestors. I painted warriors with spears and shields. Watch me transform it from a black canvas to that. I also added wild animals, women and children, as well as the iconic balancing rocks of Epworth, including patterns from the Shweshwe with a hint of abstract elements that reflect both tradition and my personal lifestyle. So this time I'm going to tape up the soles of my sneaker, and I'm going to use Scotch tape or builder's tape. You can find this from any hardware store around you, quite cheap. I got it from Bunnings for about $3 or $2, and it sticks well. It will help me, it'll guide my paint, make sure that nothing slips into areas that I don't want it, where I don't want the paint to go. So for my base color, I'm going to use Angelus White and Angelus Too Soft. So the Too Soft is going to make sure the paint sips into the fabric and make sure that it's loose and soft. So I'm going to use an airbrush instead of a paintbrush. With the airbrush, it'll speed up the process of painting the sneaker as well. So I had my first coat, and it took me about 5 coats of white to get to the desired background that I wanted. And I'm not a big fan of Too Soft because I have to use a lot of it, whereas Mod Podge, it's probably I use a third of what I use Too Soft, and it just works wonders. So after I've added my final coat, I use heat gun just to dry up the sneaker fast, and it works. So after I'm done with that, I get on with my design. So with this design, it was just off the top of my head. Every brush stroke reflects our heritage, from the balancing rocks of Epworth, which I did put on the sneaker, to the powerful symbols and strength and survival. So the patterns you'll see later on in the sneaker will be a fusion of abstract lines inspired by Shweshwe fabric and traditional shapes that represent life, unity and culture, you know. So I did get some paints from warehouse. So these are for household products, and the reason why I got these paints because they're chalk, and I wanted to have a chalk feel to my sneaker. So right now I'm adding my first coat of matte chalk salsa red. so I added a bit of white and too soft. So I'll add about 3 coats of the lighter salsa red, then I move on to the final shade of darker salsa red. So right now I'm using a matte black just to highlight my pencil lines on the sneaker. So right now I'm drawing some wild animals, some wild beasts on the sneaker, and thinking about how I'm going to bring them out, how they're going to stand out on the sneaker. Zimbabwe's got so many wild animals like wildebeest, buffaloes, zebras, elephants, wild dogs. The challenges I faced while painting definitely was mixing up the paint. Sometimes the paint didn't mix well, and trying to figure out how I can incorporate the colors. That was my biggest hurdle. And as well, there's a point where my airbrush was clogged and I had to clean it up. So those are one of the issues that I faced. So right now I'm painting in my lavender blush. So if you look at the bottom left of the corner, we have the balancing rocks of Epworth. So Epworth is a suburb found in Harare along Chiremba Road. And for me, the balancing rocks represent strength and harmony in our land. I painted warriors to symbolize protection, and if you look at on the other side of the sneaker, I also painted women and children to show community and future. And I added the Shweshwe inspired pattern because that reminded me of the African identity and details, very rich. You're probably wondering why I have a latex glove on my thumb. The reason why I've got that, I tend to smudge wet paint with my thumb all the time, and by wearing a latex glove, it will kind of remind me of like, hey, watch where you're going, watch where you put your thumb, and the paint doesn't smudge everywhere. Whereas if I don't have a latex sleeve on my thumb, I tend to smudge the paint everywhere. Why I chose these colors, chalk, especially the home decor chalk collection. It reminds me of growing up back in the days in primary school and high school, where our teachers used to draw on the boards using chalk, and at times I would volunteer to draw be it an animal or something on the board, and just trying different paints, mediums out there, and I love it. Just reminds me of growing up, my childhood days. So right now I'm just I'm adding some plants onto the sneaker. So here you've got one woman with a baby, other one carrying a bucket, and a little kid on the other hand. As well, you're probably wondering why I always seem to be buying cheap sneakers, like especially $10 ones. One, they're cheap. Two, I like to add value into something that people don't normally buy. You know, these are found in the back of the store, you know, those cheap ones. I ain't gonna buy no Air Forces, they're kind of pricey, especially if I'm just painting these sneakers for myself. So I'll rather trial and error on cheaper versions than going wild. But as well, these cheap sneakers give us a big canvas. So right now I'm just going to remove the tape from the sneaker, and this is the most satisfying part of the whole process. Wrap up, I'm just going to add a bit of matte spray just to seal my paint, and later on I'm just going to add my shoelaces. Thank you for joining me, and please do subscribe and like, and please let me know where I can improve on the next pair. Let's engage. Thank you for joining me.